Hello, good day to everyone. What I am going to discuss is the epic story of Ilocano, which is Biag ni Lamang. So, kada kayo amin nga Ilocano dita na imbag nga aldaw kanyayo amin. The author of this story is Pedro Bukaneg. He was a Filipino poet. His birthday is March 1592 and he died in 1630. Pedro Bukaneg is blind since birth. What I admire him so much is it did not become a hindrance for him to not become a famous poetry in the Philippines. So, see, Pedro Bukaneg is a blind man, yet he can able to create a poetry. Here in our next slide, Pedro Bukaneg blindness prevented him to write. He dictated his poems and songs and translations while someone else wrote. Ilocano epic Biag ni Lamang is attributed to Bukaneg by some authors and historians. So in this slide, being a blind make it difficult to make his own poetry. But he made a way. He hired a translator for him to be the writer of what he says. So, Bukaneg was a foundling who shortly after his birth already floating in a basket between Bantay and Vigan in the Banawang River was found by an old woman. So, in this part, he is similar in the story of Moises, if you know this story. But, this is not what we are going to tackle. So, let's proceed to Pedro Bukaneg. So, at this moment, what I'm going to tackle again is the priest who baptized him as Pedro Bukaneg. So, the priest that baptized him as Pedro Bukaneg is the Bantay Augustiner because they brought him there. Pedro Bukaneg is a talented and a smart person. He knows a lot of spoken languages, not Ilocano only. He knows how to speak in a Latin way, Spanish, and the local language, Ilocano, is Isneg. Pedro Bukaneg is the father of Ilocano literature. In the street inside the cultural center of the Philippines complex in Pasay City, Philippines, is named in his honor. His surname is lent to the Bukanegan, the Ilocano equivalent of the Balagtasan. So now, let's proceed to his famous epic story, which is Biag ni Lamang. I will discuss the summary of this story. So here, I'm going to discuss the characters of the story of Biag ni Lamang. So first is Lamang. Lamang is the main character, an extraordinary being. Next is Kanoyan, love interest of Lamang. She is the daughter of the richest man in the town. Next is Kalonutian Don Juan, the father of Lamang, who set up for a battle and never returned. Next, Namongan, the mother of Lamang and also the wife of Don Juan. Next, Sumarang, one of the suitors of Ines Kanoyan that also serves as rival of Lamang to upon courting Ines. So, the parents of Lamang here is Kalonutian Don Juan, his father, and his mother is Namongan. And the setting of this story is in Nalbuan. Nalbuan is somewhere in the valley of Nakilan River in La Union. So, hello po sa mga taga La Union dyan. So, I am going to start to tell the summary of the story of Biag ni Lamang. Don Juan and his wife Namongan live in Nalbuan, now part of La Union in the northern part of the Philippines. They had a son named Lamang. Before Lamang was born, Don Juan went to the mountains in order to punish a group of their Igorot enemies. While he was away, his son Lamang was born. It took 4 people to help Namongan give birth. As soon as the baby boy pooped out, he spoke and asked that he be given the name Lamang. He also chose his godparents and asked where his father was. After 9 months of waiting for his father to return, Lamang decided he would go look for him. Namongan thought Lamang was up to the challenge, but she was sad to let him go. During his exhausting journey, he decided to rest for a while. He fell asleep and had a dream about his father's head being stuck on a pole by the igorot. Lamang was furious when he learned that what had happened to his father. He rushed to their village and killed them all, except for one whom he let go so that he could tell other people about Lamang's greatness. Upon returning to Nalbuan in triumph, he was bathed by women in the Amburayan River. All the fish died because of the dirt and odor from Lamang's body. There was a young woman named Ines Canoyan whom Lamang and wanted to woo. She lived in Kalanutian and he brought along his white rooster and gray dog to visit her. On the way, Lamang met his enemy Sumarang, another suitor of Ines whom he fought and readily defeated. Lamang found the house of Ines surrounded by many suitors, all of whom were trying to catch her attention. He had his rooster crow, which caused a nearby house to fall. This made Ines look out. He had his dog bark, and in an instant the falling house rose up again. The girl's parent witnessed this and called for him. The rooster expressed the love of Lamang. The parents agreed to a marriage with their daughter if Lamang would give them a dowry valued at double their wealth. Lamang had no problem fulfilling this condition, and he and Ines were married. This is the end of the summary story of Biag ni Lamang by Pedro Bukaneg. Thank you for listening.